Hello. This is my first time second time going live. My first attempt, I could not hear myself, so bear with me. I'm trying to make sure the sound is good. It's good. Oh, yep. Okay, can you hear me? Yep. Okay, can you hear me? Okay, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about Tyre Nichols. Have anybody been tuning into the funeral? Anybody been tuning into the funeral? Um, this was weighing heavy on my heart, and I felt that I wanted to speak on it briefly. Tyre Nichols seems like he was a beautiful soul. I didn't know him personally, but just from hearing others speak about him on social media, it did touch my heart. Um, I learned a lot about him. I know a lot of people, I took a poll on YouTube, and a lot of people didn't know who Tyre Nichols was. So he was a 29-year-old African American male who was brutally and tragically beaten by 5 African American officers from Memphis. And he did not seek the medical help that he needed. And he just laid there for 23 minutes with no one attending to him until he was finally taken to the hospital, where he died 3 days later from his injuries. And it was really, really hard hearing this. And it's a video circulating, a video that I told myself I was not going to watch. And being on social media, I don't know how I thought that I could basically get past it without some social media platform showing bits and pieces of what happened to him. But I did not watch the full video, but from what I watched, it was gut wrenching. I'm going to say that his mother showed incredible strength to even speak and talk and hold interviews about her son. It was said that his last words were mom, that he was calling out for his mom. And for the parents out there, anybody that have children, to know that your children are calling for you and they don't have any type of help, no one there, and to know that those were the last words is gut wrenching. Um, it was really disturbing for a lot of people because it was considered black on black crime. The 5 officers, if you just joining, the 5 officers that beat Tyre Nichols, the 29-year-old African American male, they were black. And they were called the Scorpion Unit. After a lot of different things that happened, different protests from people dying at the hands of officers, this program was created to restore trust back into the community. So basically, to hire more people that look like the people in the community. So in Memphis, they hired 5 black officers. And those 5 officers were to restore trust back in the community. Well, rather than restore trust in the community, they took it upon themselves to beat this young man. And I'm hearing that it was so bad that it was worse than Rodney King's beating, because we know Rodney King survived his beating, but Tyre didn't. And it was a traffic stop. A traffic stop. That's what was reported. It was a traffic stop. And he, in the clip that I seen, I just seen it briefly because I refused to watch the whole entire thing. He took off running and they ran after him. And one officer, quote, "I hope they stump his ASS," end quote. And he was a Caucasian officer. So I believe that he tased Tyre, and Tyre took off his shirt and took off running. And then the other officers ran after him. And when they got him, they beat him, they beat him, and they beat him with no mercy. No mercy. And then after they beat him, they bragged about it. One officer seemed to be out of breath, as if he was just so tired and overwhelmed from the strength that he used to misuse and mistreat someone, but did not offer him any type of help. And it's sickening because most people thought that by them being African American, that I guess since they were African American officers, that you would be safe with them in that community. But my view that evil is evil, regardless of what color you are. Evil is just evil. It comes in many different colors. So just because a person looks like you does not guarantee you that you are safe. Oh, this person looks like me, so I'm safe. No, that is not it. And it's sad because one of the officers' name, I don't know his full name, but I know his first name is Martin, or either no, it's Emmett. I believe it's Emmett. Don't quote me on this one, but he has these two names in his name, Martin and Emmett. And you would think that your mother gave you this name by birth with the name Martin, and we all know who Martin Luther King is and what he stood for. If he knew what went on, I know some people use the term, I don't even know if I want to use that term, but it would be so disheartening that what he fought for and what he stood for. And finally, we're at a point in our culture and our time where we can see African American officers in uniform and wear badges when once upon a time there was not so. And then you get in this uniform and this badge, and this is what you do with it. It's sickening. And it was very disturbing for me, just a little bit of the footage that I watched, because like I said, I didn't watch the entire footage because I didn't want those images in my head. And I can't imagine the mom, from what I heard, that she did not watch the video. Her husband watched the video of her son, 29-year-old Tyre Nichols, beaten by 5 officers from the Memphis Police Department. She did see him in the hospital. And it was also stated that she got a call from the hospital asking why she wasn't up there to see her son. And she was told by the police department that he just received a tase. And it was something else that they tried to make it like it was so minor. So he was under arrest and she couldn't come. So she was lied to. So when she got the call from the hospital, she went to the hospital and she's wondering, like, a taser wouldn't put my son in the hospital. So she get up there and she couldn't even hardly recognize him. And then to find out that the last words that he said was "mom." If I'm not mistaken, he was, I believe, 80 feet away from the house. Was it 80 feet? I know he was a couple houses down where this beating took place. And the fact that they beat him mercilessly, just with no mercy. I'm sorry, I can't even get the words out. But just the fact that they would continue and continue to do this and then joke and laugh about it. It was just very disturbing. And then to know that you wear this badge, you wear this uniform, and then you feel comfortable after you do this, that you're going to joke, you're going to laugh about it, and then you're going to go back home to your family and sleep good at night, knowing that you took someone else's son off this earth and just don't even care. Now that the charges were brought against them by the chief of police, who I applaud that she acted swiftly, first she fired them and then charged them. And they went and hired a defense attorney. And the defense attorney is saying that they had no idea, that it was no intention that they were ever trying to take a life. So they just thought that you could just beat someone like they're superhuman and they wouldn't die, that you can stump them and kick them and think that, oh, they're just going to survive it. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. But I know police reform was demanded, and the irony of this, if these are the officers who were given this position as a part of the police reform, and it did not work. I know a lot of people were saying when they were protesting with Mike Brown and a lot of other people that lost their lives at the hands of police officers that were white, that they were thinking we need to see more people like us. So they start putting more officers of color in the communities of minority people. And it's not the answer to the problem. So I know it's defund the police. They think that that's going to be the answer. Put more officers that looks like the people in the community, and it's just not working. I personally don't believe in defunding the police because I believe that the police are very, very useful. And whenever it's any type of suspicion activity or something, the first ones you call are the police. What I do not like is though the people that are wearing those uniforms disgracefully, and they're not upholding the law, and they're basically abusing the power that they think they have, this authority where they go around and feel that they can treat people and do people how they want to do. I believe that they just really need to enforce those officers that break the law and hold them accountable, because the fact that they sat there and beat this man like that and felt good about themselves shows you that they really felt that they were gonna get away with it. And then I don't even want to say go get away with it. It was almost as if like it was not a crime in their eyes, that they done nothing wrong. Like pretty much this is what it is. This is what we do. But if more officers knew that they would be held accountable for their actions, then hopefully they wouldn't just make these decisions so recklessly. But I believe that it starts with the heart, because you can, I know they say they need more training, they need this, they need that. You got to think these officers are regular human beings like me and you. They have regular problems like me and you. They have financial problems like me and you. They don't really make much because so much of the money is poured into the insurance. So then they're out here and then they telling them they got to meet this quota. They got to meet this quota. So now you're just over here looking for the minor things. You're not out here trying to fight the big crime. You're looking for a tail light. You're looking for a headlight out. You're looking for all these different things because you got to meet your quota. So it puts the pressure on them. So I say we need to start holding the people up top more accountable for the officers. And the fact that if a complaint is filed, don't just toss it and then it's just steady stacking up and it's a complaint this thick and this high and nothing's done about it. And they're going to carelessly continue to go on. But my heart goes out to the officers who bust their butt every day to keep people safe, to put on that uniform and risk their lives. They run to the trouble. And so you got people out here like those officers in Memphis who make it, I'll say they make it bad for the ones who are actually out here about something. So now you got everybody side-eyeing all the officers when you see them. I found myself riding in the car and I see a person pulled over and I'm looking like, do I need to take out my phone and record? That paranoia kicks in. And it's like, that doesn't mean every cop is like that. It doesn't mean the majority of the cops is like it. So it's kind of like how maybe an African American may feel that they're being racially profiled. The police are starting to probably see what that feels like when people pull out their phones. It's like we're profiling them because it's like you're an officer. So more than likely you're up to no good. And that's not true with every officer, because I've encountered some officers that went out of their way to help, went out of their way above and beyond. And I've encountered some officers that were racist and using abusive authority and power. And it was very sad to know that people out here are like this, but they're everywhere. They're in the police department. They're in the pastors in churches. They're in the school systems. They're teachers. And oh, let's don't talk about the Catholics and the convents. We know what they do and what's going on in the Catholics. Is so many claims about abuse, about sexual abuse. And so people get in this place of power and they feel like they're untouchable. They're untouchable. So they continue and they continue and they continue to do the things over and over and over till finally something's done about it, because it was caught on camera, folks. If it wasn't caught on camera, would anybody care? Would the chief still have fired them? If it wasn't on camera and the police department and it got out amongst them, would they have still took the same protocol? Was it done because it was caught on camera and it's like, oh, we got to do this? But I applaud the chief for moving swiftly. She did not waste no time. Then people got in an uproar about the other officer that didn't participate in the beating, but he did the tasing. And it's like, what happened to him? And he made the statement, I hope they stump his ass. So they came back for him. They got him. He's fired. And then you got the 3 paramedics. Now, 5 people, 5 officers, out of all those 5 officers, neither one of them had a heart. Then you got the 6th officer, no heart. Now you got 3 paramedics show up to the scene. You would think that they would run to do their job, which is to get there and make sure that you're stable and to get you stable. Out of all 3 of them, so that's what, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 out of 9 people, nobody had a heart to interfere. Nobody. What is this world coming to? So this poor man, on his way home, after just watching the sunset, his mother said he loved the view of the sunset. He loved to skateboard. And he was just out there just looking at the beautiful view of the sunrise and the sunset. He loved to do that. He worked at FedEx, had a job, was out about something with his life. And even if he didn't have a job, it don't mean that that should have happened to him, but just speaking more about this person's character, and to know that he did not make it home for a simple traffic stop. And then at the end of the video, because I didn't watch the beating because I just didn't want that in my head. But like I said, I was surfing the web and different people were uploading. But I heard them crack jokes and they laughed and they talked about it. And then they started talking amongst themselves and said, well, what did he have on him? And they said, we couldn't find nothing. Come to find out, he never been charged, never been to jail, never been arrested, didn't have any drugs on him. And this man is gone from the earth. Life cut short. And now the officers who are responsible are going to want mercy. They're going to want people to think about them and think about their families and think about their children, even though they showed no mercy to this young man, this 29-year-old man who had a 4-year-old son. No mercy shown. So his 4-year-old son, one day, if God willing, let him come to age, he'll be able to Google this and see this to know that his father went out like that. Now, how are you supposed to gain trust for officers? That's going to cause trauma. That's going to cause anxiety, even for the people who didn't go through it, but watch the video. So now every time you're pulled over and you see those lights, you want to know, are you going to make it home after getting pulled over? You should not feel like that. Once upon a time, it was not like that. But social media is flooding us with these images and with these videos, and it's going viral and it's in people's heads. So now an officer that may just have a heart and trying to do his job is going to get that kick and that pushback. And they're human, people. When you get pulled over and you sass and talk back to the officers, and they know they have that badge that they feel is going to back them up, it's just not the place. It's best to just hold your peace. And even holding your peace, still, things could still go left. But really, when you get ready to voice how you feel about things, that's supposed to be done in a courtroom. The officers are not trained for your mouth. When you get to talking, it's like they can't take it. It's like they act like they just have no tolerance, no patience. They're trained to just cease and desist. We got to get in. We got to get the peace. And it's like anything else, it does not matter. It's like, we're here to do this job. We're here to stop the noise. But they don't want to hear you talking and explaining what happened. I actually watched the videos and they're just like, things that start out very, very minor go left. That's straight to license and registration. Let me get this. Let me get that. And the person like, well, why am I being pulled over? License and registration. Why am I being pulled over? And it's just like, they get frustrated, they get angry. And so now they feel like it's a power struggle. I have to regain power because I'm the officer and you can't tell me that you can't give me this. So it's that struggle for power rather than just being, sir, this is why I pulled you over, or ma'am, this is why oh, okay, I'm sorry that you didn't understand why, but this is why I pulled you over, or such and such, such and such. But for us moving forward with police reform, I feel like they need to put things and protocols in place when it's an excess of power and it's a partner with them, some kind of way to cool their head and let them know, hey, you need to slow down, you're going too far. Or if you're just a bystander and you witness an excessive power, you can call this number, you can report it, you can send your video here and let us know that you witnessed this. You should be able to call the police on the police. Hey, we witnessed the police using excessive force, blase, blase, blase. Okay, now the chief should have to automatically respond to the scene, or the lieutenant have to respond to the scene and then view the footage and figure out, hey, was this an excessive force? Just something so they can know that they're going to be held accountable, because 9 times out of 10, they're usually in cahoot. The lieutenants, the sergeants, the chief of police, they're co-workers. They see each other all the time. So usually they have each other's back. And it's like, they're not going to quote unquote rat them out. They're just going to keep it internal. But what's making it hard for them now to keep it internal are the phones. People are recording left and right. So it's like, hey, we gotta do something about this, because the news medias and web, they're gonna be on us. They're gonna be here protesting, and that's gonna kind of push and provoke them to do what they probably really wouldn't do. But I do believe it's probably some genuine, kind-hearted people who actually have a heart and will actually consider themselves in the situation, because usually that's not what's going on. I've seen videos where police officers are trained to use their taser. They have to get tased first so they can know what that voltage feel like before they actually use it on someone else. So that's supposed to be in your mind that when you get ready to pull out this taser, is this necessary? Because I know what this voltage feel like. And yes, we do have some out of control people that will harm others, and you should pull that taser out and use it in those situations. But a basic traffic stop, and matter of fact, you got the taser, and they get out the stick and they get all these different things out. But the crazy thing is, they don't want you disciplining your children. If you're caught disciplining your children, whooping, spanking, whatever, belt switch, oh, we can't tolerate it. No, we gonna revoke your rights. We're gonna take your children. But then they walk around with a whole stick, with a taser, with all kind of things, and they can beat other people's children black and blue, to the point where they are no longer here. And if you can go take someone's child from their home and say, this is not a safe environment for you, why in God's name do you think that an officer can come and beat somebody black and blue for a traffic stop and not take his job away and charge him and hold him accountable, just like they hold parents accountable, just like they hold teachers accountable? It doesn't make sense. So they need to not, I don't think they should defund the police. They just need to get the ones that's in there doing things that they should not be doing, wearing this badge, feeling like they can get away, need to get them out. They need to send the message that you will be held accountable too. And those that are out here doing their job should get promotions. They should get recognized. So they won't be feeling all afraid or scared and like, oh, I need to quit. And what's the point? Because this is no, you keep doing what you're doing. We see you, we acknowledge you. We're going to give you a promotion. And what we're going to do is demote these people. And we're going to fire these people. Oh, you got a complaint? Let's investigate it. You steady getting complaints? Okay, we're going to have to put you on desk duty till we figure out and investigate what's going on. Why are you getting so many complaints? But what's happening, they're steady stacking up, and they just got them somewhere off to the side until someone actually loses their life and die and blood is shed. And now it's like, oh, we got to give an account for this blood that was shed. But other than that, it's like no one cares. No one cares. And it's just really, really sad. And I don't want to look at another video that doesn't motivate me, that doesn't make me feel any good, but I also don't want to turn a blind eye to it. I don't want to turn a blind eye, because that could be anybody. That could have been my son. That could have been my daughter. That could have been my uncle, my nephew, my father. It could have been me, anybody. And I just hope and I pray that once this so-called die down and it's on to the next topic, they don't forget. I pray that his life was not in vain, that the blood that was shed is not forgotten, that they will move forward and put in some serious, serious changes into the police department. Not just hire people that look like people. That's not the issue. You can look like me and be still evil. We need people that actually have hearts, people that are actually kind, that have families, and that are considerate. Not people that play this role and then when they leave out that house, they put on their demon face. We need good hearted people. And usually you only can tell that through time. So you need to pay attention when complaints. You should pay attention. When a complaint is filed against an officer, it needs to be noted. I remember working and you have that time where they call you into the office. Now we need to review what you've done for the entire year. And that determines whether or not you're going to get that raise. Every officer should have some type of view count every 6 months. Call them into the office, take a look at them and the complaints and what kind of job they've been doing. Give them a promotion if they've been doing good. Hey, yeah, keep doing, pat on the back, whatever, whatever, whatever. Those that steady getting complaints and people are calling in and saying this, look into it. Quit letting it stack high until somebody dies and then say, oh, let's actually open this file and see what they're talking about. It's just really sad. And you would think after all the lives that have been lost, more will be done. More officers will wake up and say, hey, you know, I can't do this. I mean, you would think that after we've seen so many been put away, that would catch a bell like, hey, because we know everybody's human. People lose their temper. Just because you're an officer don't mean that you can't lose your temper. I mean, I get it. It happens. But to the point where you just keep on doing something, you keep on hitting this man, you keep on hitting this man, and then there's 5 other people standing around and nobody grabs him by the belt, pulls him back and say, hey, you are going too far. Or hey, no, we got him restrained. We got the cuffs on him. Chill. Just somebody there to help bring the person back to their reality. Because sometimes you can leave reality for a minute and come back and be like, whoa, I did this. And that's another thing. A psych evaluation should be done on these officers. They're just hiring them in, throwing them their badge and their uniform and just sending them out with a gun and everything. We got enough thugs. We don't need them with badges on. We don't need them with badges on. But my heart and my prayers are to the family. I pray for them. Guys, keep them in their prayers. I pray that the mom will continue being strong. I mean, her strength is incredible. It is incredible that she can even speak, that she can talk, hold interviews, knowing what has happened. I admire her strength. And I know right now is a lot going on. It's still fresh and new. She laid her son to rest today. And once the next story happens, hopefully it's not nothing to where we're looking at somebody losing their life again, but usually people move on. But I just pray that she don't be forgotten and he don't be forgotten and that justice will be served. All right, guys.